Hey, Irfan, while we're talking about controls, what it leads us into our
Yeah, that's a
control
great.
helper tool, which is to me, I'm so glad we created it. It's really cool. You want to share it? Yeah. No, we've talked a lot on the in these groups about Win32 controls. I'm not sure how much everyone understands exactly what they are and why they're special. But yeah, once you
So let me bring a Win32 control. So let me bring our options here. So this is our
Yeah,
Win32 control syntax writer. And whenever I drag to it, it's highlighting it. It is just like a simple spy. And we drop over here. So it is telling me this is the text, this is the button, type is a checkbox. You can see it's a button 3, but type is a checkbox. So we are figuring
yes.
out, and it is enable and visible, and these are its coordinates, and it's found on this window. And then I can do a check, but you can see this check will not work because the window matching is like twice, so I
be
have to do another condition. So if I hit add again, and you can see the title is changed, and now we are using AHKEXE with the executable name. And now if I hit test and
You can see that I turned it on.
you turn it on, and I
Right.
can simply add the include. So this is our library that we are using, and this is our class. We just pass control and the other parameter and the method that what we want. It will just do the task all with all the like validation of is control is available, is there, and then it tries to do the control action. So we are using control function through this library, and it's available in here, control help.ahk, and we can just copy that. Sorry, we can just hit here and it is copied here, and we can create. Okay, I went to 4. So we're okay. I can create a new tab here. Let me use here. So yeah, test.hk, and I paste here, and I just do, for example, I just do F1 here, and I run this. And now if I uncheck this and hit F1, you can see I uncheck and I hit F1, it is checking it. So it is, this syntax writer is
well,
help you automate your control action, so you can automate any Win32 control.
but
And
it's doing more than that, right? Because what's important that we didn't mention is we first also check that it's even is it visible? Is it available? I forget.
yeah, so we are checking that this control is available.
Yeah.
And why we are not checking for enable disable, so let me just show you. So if I disable this control, so now it is disabled and it is checked, and still I can uncheck it. So so I cannot interact with it, but my library can check it again. So so that's why we're not checking for enable disable, because we can bypass that, but we are checking that if that control is available. And we can hide that control as well. So if I add here and I hit that, so you can see that control is vanished, and now I have to show it back. So to show it back, I have to pass like we are waiting for it to be visible. So I have to pass 0 there. So we are not doing any timeouts. So it will right away make it visible. So if I remove that thing, then if I hide it again and then I show it, sorry, show and remove that, yeah, it will take forever to make it visible. It is visible. Huh. Okay, I have to hide it and now show it. So I have to remove that 0. So now it will not work because we are waiting for it to be available somehow. And now we have to make it minimize and show, and that's how it will. So we have to pass 0 here. So this syntax writer is taking care of all of that. So whenever do you show it, it will add 0. And it will show you what are the action that you can take with this checkbox. So you can check, uncheck, you can get the check, you can click it, you can set the text. So set text will change the text. So now you have to say here, put the new text in here and just test it. So it is changed. So let me click on another one. So yeah, you can see that it was disabled and yet the text has been changed. So
And just because like this is prompt assistant he's looking at, but it could be it could be an executable, you know, and we're, to be clear, we're changing the label basically, right? We're not changing functionality. But it's still it's an API approach, right? So it's highly reliable.
So I can set the new text of, so this is the Rainmaker famous program. It's an executable. And if I hit the test, yeah, the text has been changed. So it can be any Win32 control. It can be any program that will. So for example, I drop here. So this is not a Win32 control. So it is a
Now,
different control.
before we go forward, does anyone have any questions on any of this? Like, I think this is awesome because
Yeah.
the Win32 controls are super powerful, but there's what, like 20 or 30 different commands, and it's just confusing and takes time to write. And especially adding that logic and say, well, let's make sure it's visible before we try to do this stuff or available, you know, whatever. So this streamlines all that.
So you can see now my drop down has been changed for the list view. So I can set index. So if I do 2 here and hit the test, so it's selected the
Switch
second. Yeah. And I can get the index. So I can change it to 3 and hit add and run it. So yeah, it selected the third one, but I can get the choice. So what I selected in here. So choose a string. Okay. So choose a string by text. So if I do a left here, so it is a partial text. And you can see it is left here. So if I test here, so it will select that. So partially matching the list and selecting the item. And
I have a topic on that. I will ask you a question in a bit. Finish up.
okay. So now you can see that it will get you the choice. So what you have in there.
Right.
And you can also get the index, what item you have selected. And you can get the text. Yeah, getting text is kind of like giving you, oh, I have to add. Okay. It will just give you the text that is selected.
Be careful with that one. The get text and get value are not the same. There is a difference between the two. All right.
Yeah.
No, but not for example in an edit field, right? Where value and text they look like they are the same, but they aren't. In this one, I get it because this one the value gives you a number, but the text gives you the string, right? But in an edit control, the value and the text are both text, but they're different. There is a difference between them, so be careful with those.
Yeah. So for example, now I drop here on the edit box.
Right.
So I can set the text, I can add the text. So, okay.
Oh, I see that you don't have the get the value there.
Oh, there is no
Right.
get value, I think.
Right. There is one. So you well, it's not a function that is called get value, but you can get the value out of a control, no? Yeah, you can.
I think it is the get text and the set text.
But so what you're saying is there is no control get value is what you're saying, right? No, but I'm referring to something else. Okay, I get it now.
So you're doing GUI controls, I think.
Yeah. If I have a GUI control, I have the value or the text, and in an edit field they might look the same, but they aren't.
So we have.
But you're right. So let me see. Get. No. Okay, I see. You have the text, but you don't have the value of it, right? Okay.
I'm glad you pulled up this page though, Irfan, because it gives people an idea of like
How many functions there are.
Yeah, it is.
Which command related to which control?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like you have to figure that out. So
Now,
Right.
Irfan, bring up the calculator I gave you, which
Ah,
is written in Delphi, right? And what's interesting is we did a little research on it and found out like, hey, the controls, their Delphi apparently is wrapping the Win32 controls. So even though it's not a Win32 control, you actually can still kind of interact with them.
Yeah.
But what was weird, Isaiah, is we have a question for you. Is Irfan, explain how it was different for you than for me.
oh, it is now working. It wasn't working for me at all.
Well,
Oh, so you were not able to click on it?
he could, but he had to swap out the handle with the control, the class
No.
NN.
No, so this is the Delphi, but I have this Audacity tool, which which is the different control, I think. So for
Yeah,
example,
Wow.
so this is not Win32. It is Widgets. I don't know what is it. It's called Widgets or something. So if I want to click on it, I have to get the HWND of this one. So let me get it with the spy. So this doesn't tell me the HWND.
No, it does not.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I think you can get the control get handle.
Yeah.
Control get HWND of that title, yes. Control get HWND for
And then
copy that thing. Yep. The two parts right there. Yep.
I think
That
that
should
will
give you a number. That put that in a variable called HWND and then put the variable below.
Okay, let me do it.
You didn't find it.
Control get HWND.
Okay.
Control get ID.
No, well, no, it's HWND, but maybe the parameters are incorrect.
No, it is not about parameter. Let me do a minor tweak to the tool so we can get the HWND.
Yeah.
Where it is? It was here somewhere.
So meanwhile, Isaiah, what we were talking about was like, let's stick with the calculator example, which right now it's closer because they're much more similar. Should we still let people use this tool on it? Because it's a little misleading. They're not Win32 controls, right? But
Well, they are.
well, they're wrapping them. So
Right. So they are. And in the
And
long run, they really are Windows 32 controls. It's
Yeah.
just that Delphi
Well, let
is
me-
just doing something on top of them.
And
right?
what AI said was that they may sometimes work and sometimes not is more of my concern, right? So
All right. Yeah, of course, because they're custom controls. Right.
Yeah, right.
So you might want to limit them, I guess, right? But it's not because of the fact that they aren't, they are, but it's just they're custom and things could behave in a way that is not what
Right.
you're expecting, which I guess you're totally right about that one. Like there's no way you could
Right.
predict what's going to happen at that point, right?
So I just put the HWND for the control here. Temporary. So I put it here and now my test is working.
It tries to share. I see that it takes a little time for it to do it.
Sorry, I have to the window match was like more than 70298. Okay, now I test it. Oh, it is not working for some reason. Huh.
Maybe add the include above, maybe. I don't know. No. That's interesting. I would have expected it to work though.
Okay. So it was not the case. It was working for me a little while ago.
Okay.
So maybe I have to restart the tool or something. But these
Yeah.
463282. You see,
Yeah, that one works. So you see, which is exactly the point you made, Joe. There are kind of like, we don't know when they're going to work and when they won't. One
Now
of
it
them
is-
did, the other one is not.
so now with using control NN class, it is not working at all.
Right, of course not. No.
But well, explain that, Isaias. Why you say that? Why? Of course not. Why?
Well, so the problem is when you create a control, you're creating custom classes, right? So let's back up. Let me share my screen for a second, and then let's back up a bit. You can do this actually with window ex. This is the name of the function, the C or C++ function that you use to create a window or a control, because controls are a type of windows. All right, so they are that. Because of that, you use the same function, which is the reason why you get handles as well. But the problem is when you create a custom control, you change a very important part of this function. So this function, part of what it does is that you have to tell it what is the type of window that you want, which would be the type of instance, if I remember right. It's kind of like a class. What type of control or what type of window you're creating, right? When you change that, AutoHotkey is not aware of that change that you made, because it is going to target the basic ones that Windows has provided for you, which are the known ones. All right. So, for example, the button, button. Yeah, go ahead.
While you're explaining this, just do me a favor, because I think it'll make it easier to understand. Because you were saying what you can change. Why don't we say it? They can change to keep it as far as someone else creating another program might have done.
For example, right? And when I meant you as a programmer, and that means them who are doing that, right? Yeah.
Who's doing what? But yeah.
So in the Windows create window ex or create window, there are two functions that do this: create window and create window ex. Ex is just the extended version. You can pass some parameters, and one of the parameters is the class of window that you're creating. And there's some classes that are by default. Those are the ones that you see, like button 1, sys32, what was it? List view 32 or something like that. I don't know what it is. No. But those are the class names of things that you can create. That's the class that you're actually determining when you're creating the window. You can also in C create your custom class. All right. So you create a custom class yourself, you add your stuff, and now this is my class. And now that class goes in here. So you're creating a window with a class that you created. Those AutoHotkey has a hard time figuring them out because they are not in the list of the standard ones. So as soon as you have these buttons that have their own little classes, like for example, WX window, whatever it was, as Joe's pointed out, the problem it makes is that I cannot tell what's going to happen, because it could be that AutoHotkey figures it out, but it could be that it doesn't. Why? Because of the methods that AutoHotkey uses under the hood. It probably calls certain functions that try to give it information. And depending on how that class was created, maybe they get the information or maybe they don't. But it depends on how the class was created. By the way, just in case you didn't know, you can, in AutoHotkey, create GUIs that append custom controls. Here in the add, you have, well, control types here. You have custom controls. So there you go. You can add a custom control into your GUI and have it act as a normal control. The interesting one, as an example, was the class Scintilla. That doesn't work as like that any longer. Not as easy, I would say. I have to test it out. I haven't tested in V2, but you grab the scintilla control, which is a DLL file, which is like that. You load the DLL into memory, and then you say, add a custom control for that class. And it would open the scintilla control as if it was a normal control inside AutoHotkey. But notice, this is no longer true. The Silex or DLL is not how they do it now. So if you try it now, I don't know if it would work. That's what I mean, right? But yes, you can load any sort of controls in your AutoHotkey controls, which begs the question, hey, I could go in a different language, create a DLL that has my control skinned and looking at however I want, with advanced controls like you know, the ones that appear in the settings. You can go to C#, create your controls like this, in which you have these little buttons and toggles, right?
That's me.
You have it looking exactly how you want it in your DLL, and then you load your DLL, and then you say GUI add custom, and you add the class that you just created, and your GUI will look like this, like this.
Wow.
Even though it is an AutoHotkey script. So it is possible. It's just very complicated. Most people, I haven't seen these being used as often as I think people should, right? If you know how to create your own controls, dude, just create them and load them straight into your AutoHotkey script and work with them. But hopefully that gives you an idea of what is going on. Is mainly that was created probably is not returning the values that AutoHotkey is expecting.
Yeah, but also, I mean, you're changing the how you connect to it, right? Because you have to, because AutoHotkey is looking for certain things, and that's anyway. I think I followed you as far as the why you're changing the reference that you're passing to it in order for it to find it. But that's really, really interesting. Yeah,
right.
So
hopefully that makes sense in there.
I think, just FYI for us for this tool, I do think then we would leave. I told our friend to make it a different color, so we let them know it's not a Win32 control, and still tell them that. But I think we should go ahead and say for some of these that we know what they are, that begin with the WX or the T, whatever it was, right? We still leave those in, because it's we'll just have
it's
to.
Very interesting. Now that you mentioned that, there are some tools that what they use is the Windows Foundation forms, the WFP, right? And those, even though they have weird class names, we can still interact with those if you pass the right class, right? So I would say that's totally fine.
Now, one more follow-up on this one. It occurred to me, even though I don't love it because it makes it more complicated, but let's say we're working with one of these that we're just describing here, where we can very reliably get the coordinates, but the control click doesn't work. And I think most of us agree when we're automating stuff, often we're clicking, right?
Yes.
Maybe we should have a different method in here that we could actually say mouse click, and we would use the coordinates that we get programmatically with the location to send the mouse click, the real click.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
You get my point? And then I was telling Irfan, I said, but then we're like, are we doing the screen location or the window? I guess in that one, we probably almost always do the window, right? Or the client.
Yeah, I would do the client, yes.
Yeah. But I think it raises this to another level, having that kind of next method. If the control doesn't work, I can still find it programmatically and send a real click to it for some of those tough ones, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so this program is like confusing for me. So it has this non-32 control, and this program also has this combo box that
I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, that's looking fine.
This makes total sense to me, and this is something that you will find all over the place. Look, they started with a normal script or a normal program, and then they realized, look, I need a control that Windows does not provide. How can I create my own control? because yeah. So this guy right here, this time right here, Windows does provide a time control, but not exactly what they wanted. So then they go ahead and say, okay, so how can I create it that behaves how I want it, right? And when I click in here, it does this, and when I do that, it does that. So they started with the basic ones, and this is what usually happens over time with your script. You will start with the normal controls that Windows give you, then you will realize they don't do what you want, and then you will try to create your own control. For example, one of the ones that I have been thinking for several years already is the hotkey control. The hotkey control is so powerful, yet you cannot do a Windows hotkey. You cannot do a backspace or a space. And I'm like, it's lacking, right? That's when you go ahead and say, okay, I will build my own that looks like it, behaves like it, but it does this one thing that it doesn't do. So that's what they did there. Those are, some of them are normal controls, some of them are specialized controls. That's it. That's all about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think even in the Windows ribbon, sorry, like in the Word toolbar, there's still like a regular class and then control.
Yes,
Here,
yes,
right?
they do. Yeah. Again, that is software that is being built upon, right? So that's another thing. Like, for example, how can you do that? How can you have a line with different kind of like place that looks like a slider, but I don't want it to be a slider. I want it to be something static. Yeah, that's when they go ahead and say, you know what, let me create that one. It's not that hard. You can create your own buttons.